Yes, I guess when we spoke about fatherhood, I think what we acknowledged was what I would call, in some ways, an epidemic, a crisis when it comes to fatherhood. Because what we know is that we've got a huge amount of boys that are taking up positions in police stations, in dangerous places, and the common theme with a lot of these young boys is that there isn't a stable parental structure at home, and most likely there's not a father figure at home. And even if there is a father figure, is there a role model in that house? Is there someone that's leading their home, leading in their community?
Irrespective of what you do, never take that from me. I'm that child's father.
Guys, to all parents out there, we definitely know what we are experiencing in terms of blacks, minorities, in the UK, in other parts of the world, in terms of sometimes saying the system is against us, but equally we have our roles to play.
I would say there was no relationship between me and my father, obviously. Respect, yes, I cannot respect my father. Fear, absolutely 100% fear. Okay. I think probably I would say, there was not much respect, but fear.
Okay.
Compared to the sort of situation that I find myself when I become a father.
I've been a father for about 3 months now, so it's a new experience for me. But I think, like, as a black father, the father are the first mentors for our child, and I think the chance that we have to play that role in the lives of our kids is unique. And I think in our community, like, for example, speaking for myself, I didn't have that first mentor, a male mentor. It was always my mother, my grandmother, and I'd have to kind of pick from males that, like uncles or people on the, like, teachers and stuff like that, to actually use as a good example, but not within my household. So being in a position where I can actually be that person, be that mentor for my child, create memories, create experience, I think it's something that we take for granted, and we should really try to do as black fathers, make sure that we are, even if we, let's say for example, we're not with our partners, but I think it's still important to be that mentor in the life of our kids, even from afar. So,
yo people, this is Nana SA. You know what? I'm doing this project on fathers. I know Father's Day is gone, but I continue to reflect on fatherhood, and I've got a compilation of different people's perception of how fatherhood was like for them and what possibly they are aspiring to be. It's really interesting. I've met somebody who is not just a father, but also a granddad. Yeah, he looks young. He's already taken. Yeah. So for those of you who have already started having ideas, no, he's a father, he's a granddad. And I think he's the only person of that status that I want to maintain. I would allow him to introduce himself, and I think there is an interesting story behind his experiences of fatherhood. Please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm J.K. Mohammed Konkola Jane, Sierra Leonean descendant that lives in the UK.
So Mo, let's share something that you shared with me in regards to your experience when you were growing up with your father.
I think being born in Africa, Freetown, Sierra Leone, and growing up there, I would say there was no relationship between me and my father.
Okay. So possibly the role of that father for you was an authority figure who you had to fear.
Oh yes, absolutely, 100%. Was my father a good father? 100%. He was a good father. But did I, looking back, would I have wanted to have a relationship with him? Yes. A relationship that I now look at, the sort of relationship that I have with my children, I would have loved to have that kind of relationship with my father.
So yes, while some may argue that they do have a relationship with their children, the question is, how do we create relationship with our own children in order for it to be sustainable?
What we don't see with young men now is we don't see young boys who are literally walked through life.
Yeah.
And if you think of the analogy of literally somebody holding someone's hand, and they're 5 years old and they're still holding their hand when they're 10, and they're still holding their hand when they're 20, and they're still holding their hand when they're 40, because when it comes to fatherhood, parenting, coaching, mentoring, there's not a point in life where it just stops. My mum didn't stop being my mum, and my dad won't stop being my dad because I'm now 31. But what we don't see is actually from the very beginning, those young boys having someone's hand to hold on to see how to do life.
Through the journey.
And unfortunately, a woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. A mum can't teach a son how to be a father. A teacher can't teach a young boy how to be an adult or be a male within society. They can do only so much, which is to provide, to give love, to do what their part is to do. You know, as a woman, they've got their purpose, their job, and that's for the most part where it stops. So what you see is young boys go out there and they find the father figure, and they do two things. They find a community, or they find parenting through their friends and their community, or they find it from people who are above them, and that person could be doing something great or not great. And those are the children that people prey on. An older man or an older person knows a young vulnerable boy when they see them. If they've got no one walking behind them, if they've got no one that they're going home to, if they've got no one that's basically checking to see where they are, they've got them like that already. Because all it takes is for a 25-year-old guy, sometimes the older person could be 20, and all he's saying to a 13, 14-year-old boy is, do you want to make some money? Do you want to get this, and that? But a young boy that's got someone at home that's already told him, this is how you need to walk through life. This is where you need to go. If that comes your way, don't take that option. But if you haven't got that at home, you say, all right then, lead me. And the boy extends his hands out to the person that's come to him, and they lead him to a path of destruction. That's what happens. They lead them to Ipswich to go sell drugs for weeks. Nobody knows where they are. They lead them literally to prison. They lead them to where they need to pick up a knife and a gun to fight a war that's not even their war half the time.
Let me jump in, Emmanuel.
That's you, bro.
No, it's you.
Oh, is it me? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
Obviously, so whilst the younger fathers may be debating on whose turn it is to speak, we definitely want to find out from you how you have been able to bond with your own children. We would want to know in the comment section anything that you've changed or anything that you've done as a parent, which is different from how you were actually brought up.
So, I guess for me, being a father is one of the most important responsibilities you could ever have, in terms of being a role model, making sure that you sort of making sure that you create the time and effort to teach your kids morals, values, principles that would make them independent, essentially, while they're growing up. And I guess within the Black community, when we look at the way our parents brought us up to how things are now, there wasn't a lot of affection that was shown in certain ways, while now there's huge importance of being more affectionate with your kids, making them realize that it's okay to cry, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be upset. While in reality, back in the days, we were taught that you don't necessarily need to show emotions, because emotions is a sign of weakness, emotion is a sign of, all these things. So I think for me, being affectionate and making sure that emotionally you're available for your kids is a very important aspect as a father.
I think just as Black fathers, I think spending time with our kids is very valuable and important. So I've got a 3-year-old daughter, and absolutely, she's my princess. And she loves book time. She loves for me to watch TV together. And I think even now, she cries when I leave her. So I think spending time with your daughters, your kids, is so valuable. And I think it's something that you can't take away. So that's mine.
That's brilliant. Guys, the reason why we are doing this is we want to discuss these things that is going on within our communities, where in as much as we've been labeled, that black fathers have got this tag. Black fathers may not be available for their families, in as much as Mo may not have had the ideal father that he may have wanted. His perception of what he wanted to be as a father when he had his own family has been different. Tell me about what happened in your relationship.
Well, obviously, I've got 3 lovely boys. That's my ex-wife. It's my ex-wife.
Hold on, ex-wife?
Ex-wife, yeah. 3 beautiful, lovely
You see
boys.
the reason why I tell you he's a unique person. So we are talking about ex-wife. Yeah, tell me about it as an ex-wife, but still maintaining a relationship with your children.
Well, for me, obviously, when it didn't work between me and my ex-wife, it was clearly that I have to look at what is important to me in this. Whatever has happened between me and their mother, it has happened. That relationship, whether I like it or not, is going to be there.
Okay.
Because, where there is children, as an African, the relationship is always going to be there because they're going to grow up, things are going to happen, university, marriage, you still have to come together and do things as a family.
Okay.
So for me, the key thing is like, okay, now having separated from the ex-wife, I still have children within that house, so I have to try and maintain. It wasn't an easy thing for me, but I fought so hard, end up in court,
Okay.
just so that I have that relationship with my children.
Court is clear that it is important for both parents to have a role in a child's life.
Okay.
But when adults fall out, and there are children that have been part of that union, sometimes they forget about the children. They get caught up in their dispute with each other and the dislike they have for one another at that point in the relationship, and they forget that the child is the product of both of them, not one of them.
Guys, for the fact that, we may have had it as a cool term, the baby mama and all that, at the end of the day, it's the children that should be the priority. So this is the situation where if you may have done things differently, what was your inspiration to still want to maintain a relationship with your children?
Well, they are my kids, they are my children, and I think as a father, we as a black people, we come to this country, we work hard, but being a parent change everything about you. Okay. If you are smart, you will see that. There's one thing that I always remember, come home from work, you walk through that door after you've been banged at work, and then the first thing that will happen, even though you're tired, your kids will still jump in, hey, dad. Yeah. How can you have any other feeling like that? You know what that feels like when you walk through that door with all this stress, and then you just have your kids jumping on you, even though, it was funny because my kids kind of imitate me one of those days whereby I was come home from work, I sat down, and then they said, oh, let's come and play dad. And then the one went and put my coats on, and then the one hold my briefcase. Okay. And then they came through, I didn't even know they were doing me. And they walked through, they said, dad, hello. And then the other one said, hello, dad. I said, oh, I'm tired, move away from me, I'm tired. It was so, when I look at when their grandmother then was with us and said, hey, look at your kids, they're doing you. And I just sat down there and laughed and said, wow, how can you run away from that responsibility and that fun and that love? How can you, as a man? So really, you have to do everything in your power, because end of the day, the kids are important. I mean, the sort of relationship I have with my kids now, looking back and looking now, they're like friends. They don't even, Pops. Hey, Pops. That's how they call me. Hey, Pops. We do things together. We go out together. We chat. Yeah. You know what it means for an African man, your son to phone you and say, hi, Dad, I need to talk to you. I need some advice. Yeah. Because you open up. Yeah. You let them in. You build that relationship. because most of us, we behave like our parents, whereby it's purely business. Hello, dad. Goodbye, dad. Hello, dad. Goodbye, dad. That is wrong.
So whilst we all yearn to improve our parenting and to be able to form great memories with our children, what has it been? What has it been for you that you've been able to achieve in terms of your parenting, or possibly your parents did, that continues to linger on your memory? Join us, listen to James's story as to why he believes his parents sacrificed for him. As you continue to do that, make sure you join us on this channel, subscribe, like, and share with other people to continue to celebrate Black excellence.
I went to a private school.
Okay, private school.
Private school, yeah.
Means James is postman.
Definitely not. Far from it. To get to that point required a lot of sacrifice from my parents' behalf. That's why I have to give them so much praise and props for doing what they did. You know, as you know, it's a lot of money. To the point it took my father had to get a second job just to like be able to fund me.
Okay.
Just so that I could get the best level of education to give myself the best chance in life. So that was that. Yeah.
That's deep. So you did share with me that your dad actually drove a taxi.
Yes.
To be able to get additional income to pay for your school fees.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And just seeing that as a youngster, and this is kind of why I wanted to do this as well, because we were talking about seeing things, you know, seeing young Black people seeing things that can help motivate them. I know not everyone is blessed to have a male figure in their life. By me having, like, I thank God every day. If I didn't have my father, who knows what kind of path I would have gone down.
Okay.
But because I had that constant reminder of seeing the man, I used to see he was tired after work, but he'd go out, push himself, try and secure the
Dad, respect to you.
Respect to you.
Yeah, that's great. That's
you
great.
know, he would be tired.
That's great.
Come home early morning, like I'd even stay up sometimes just to hear him, just make sure he come home safe, you know, just to make sure, because it was kind of like I'd feel guilty. Like he's doing all this for me. So, and that's another thing that pushed me. He's doing all this, so I've got to repay him. And achieve my full potential and become successful.
And I'm sure he was being supported by your mom as well.
Absolutely, both of them. Yes. Yeah. Mom, definitely big shout out to you, because you know, she was the one that would take me to school every day, and then she'd go to work, finish work early, come pick me up, and it wasn't like I lived close to home. She'd have to drive at least nearly half an hour to come get me, go home, prepare dinner, make sure the house was in order as well.
And what kind of work was mom doing?
Mom at that particular time was working in a warehouse, so manual labor, physical stuff. So I'm sure she was tired, you know. But still use that energy to come pick me up, come home, feed me, look after my brother as well. You know,
so there is definitely that story of a humble beginning.
Humble beginnings, absolutely. I know if you look now, if you see how I'm living and what I'm driving, is
yo guys listening. When I came to see James, or when you see the kind of car that James is driving, as well as the current place that we are, you know, James is not hit his 30s yet, but he's already got he's bought himself his own house. It's not a matter of he's renting, he's actually bought his, you know, first property. James has been qualified or since left uni since what?
2015.
Okay, so 6 years post qualifying, he's actually been able to buy his first property. James, how did you do that?
So whilst it may have taken us over 2 years to produce or to put together these compilations, the most important thing is by speaking to these up and coming Black men, there is the evidence in terms of the change that they want, and actually Adam's experience in terms of what he wanted to do in order for him to feel part of his children's upbringing was very, very humbling.
I took to lorry driving because clearly that would give me the sort of comfort in terms of financial comfort. But while doing that, I realized I was missing out on family life as well. So
hold on a minute. So you did B&Q, Honda, Tesco, move on to do lorry driving, and
you never felt the need for you to be comfortable and stay where you are?
No, not at all. I always felt no. And one thing is, you know, at every stage you get within those sort of changes, there's something lacking. So one, you either getting more money, you're missing out on family life, or well, if you're able to enjoy that family life, you haven't got enough money to make you comfortable. So, you know, there isn't, one has to give way for the other. I think for me, it was having to, you know, get that life balance between family life and work. It wasn't, well, I was getting the money from truck driving anyway, but I was missing out on family life. So I was missing out on kids, you know, spending time with the kids a lot, because as you know, it was really involving. So all you want to do on weekends is just sleep, rest, because you've got another hectic week ahead of you. And the kids probably want to go to the park, they want to play on PlayStation with you, they want to do all those bits, but you're never available. So they see you at home, but you're not there, kind of thing. And one thing that struck me was my son made a statement one time that, you know, look, he sees his friends' dad brings them to school and pick them up, you know, but I'm never around. And that really touched me, you know. I'm like, no, I need to do something, you know. This can't carry on, you know, like I need to make some changes.
So to all the fathers out there, I think possibly what the children are telling us is, in as much as we may be running around looking for the money, their biggest appreciation is wanting to spend that time with us.
Yeah.
What did you then do, Adam?
Yeah, so I took a week off work, you know, just to spend time and rebuild that relationship, because yeah, we've got really good relationships. So just to rebuild that relationship and for him not to feel left out, you know, kind of thing, for him not to feel left out. So the first day I took him to school, he was really excited. You could see that excitement on his face. He took me around to introduce me to his friends. Okay. That is my dad, because I don't know, probably might be they were teasing him he's not got a dad or something, but you could see he was trying to prove a point that he's got a dad, this is his dad, kind of thing. And I met the other parents, the other dads, and we had a nice conversation. You know, they were all really, you know, welcoming. They all said, you know, nice to finally meet you, because they've heard of Jefferson's dad, but they've never met him before. But you know, nice to finally meet you. And yeah, I picked him. So I'm like, okay, I would do the pickup as well, because I thought I was just going to drop him and that was it. But I'm like, no, I like what I've seen, so I would pick him up as well. And I did that for a week, and after a week I'm like, no, something needs to change, you know. Something needs to change, because this is something I'm actually enjoying doing, you know, because yeah, it's you know, boys normally build a special relationship with their dad where they feel comfortable talking to you about certain things. It might not mean anything to you, but it means a lot to them.
Guys, I wouldn't take too much time. I think I want everybody to hear the different perceptions about how relationship between men and their fathers may have been, but equally people making the intentional efforts to change that narrative which they felt was the normal for them. So to any young man out there, to any young fathers, to any older father who may not have had a relationship with their children, what we are saying is there is some level of relationship that will live with you forever. And if even all this while you've never had that relationship, you may still be able to go back. And if people decide to work it through, I believe come Father's Day next year, or even every day, it's about the relationship that we can have with our boys or with our children. And especially raising 3 boys in this country, and still being on the straight and narrow. Guys, what do? Do I do a high five or I do a fist bump? Guys, if this is the first time you're watching me, my name is Nana Essay. This is what we're doing. We are supporting our community to be able to change the narrative. And for today, we are talking about fatherhood. Just watch the other clips as we go through it, and I'll try my very best to reflect through that. Those who didn't have a relationship, those who did, Mo, thank you very much. Guys, if you are watching for the first time, please click on the subscribe button. Let's grow. Share it with another young lad. Share it with other men. And being fathers, we need to start incorporating all these values with our young boys. So for all those people working with young boys, all those people working with young people, guys, we salute you.
Be a father.
Yeah,
be a good one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
So whilst it is very obvious that it wouldn't be every household that has a father figure, What we then decided to do was to actually explore, speak to other people for us to be able to know how do we seek the support of other men to be able to support other young people who may need the support of men in their community or within their extended family.
Emmanuel, we talked about, fathers supporting their children. You gave me a scenario, when we were having pre-discussion in regards to, it's just like fathers being able to support their children to take them to places where they can show them the ropes.
Yes, I guess when we spoke about fatherhood, I think what we acknowledged was what I would call, in some ways, an epidemic. And I think the example I gave was saying that, many centuries ago, you would have seen in society men leaving their house to go to, maybe not to go to war, but to train for battle. They would have left their house to go to hunt. They would have left their house to go on a journey to do something in relation to their job or to support their family. And right next to them, you would have seen their 5, their 6, 7, 10-year-old son walking with them. Yeah. And I think the reason why that's important is because from the moment that dad has left his house and he's got on his horse, or he's packed up his bags, or he's packed up his axe ready to cut some wood wherever he is, the journey from there to his place of work, he's got his son there watching him.
Yeah.
And whilst his son there is watching him, they're also having a dialogue and a communication, which is almost certainly the dad preparing his son for what's about to come. More likely for him to be able to do what the father's currently doing.
Yeah.
More importantly, maybe to do even more than that. So not only is he seeing the example, he's being coached by the example, he's being mentored by the example. And that's what fatherhood is.
As parents, especially with the young black boys out there, with the parent out there, we need to parent our children, okay? In instances where we really feel that we haven't got the services or we haven't got the know-how of looking after these children, we definitely have people like this that we can refer to, we can reach out. And it's a bit of a coincidence that the project is called the Reach Out Project. Yeah. People can reach out so that at least they can get the help and support that they need.
Yeah, so the Reach Out Project is a mentoring program for young boys who have been disengaged, disenfranchised from school. The program is specifically for young black boys. Predominantly, the majority of our children are between the ages of 11 to 16, so the secondary school ages. And it's a mentoring program to basically promote opportunities for young boys in London to succeed, and we do that through mentoring and surrounding them by positive adults, positive role models, but giving them physical, tangible opportunities to succeed. Probably one of the proudest moments I've had with the Reach Out Project, I saw 3 young boys who were fearless and in a good way naive. They walked into the studios with their do-rags on, AirPods on, came in with, 1 or 2 of them might have dressed up a little bit, one of them kind of just came as he was. And I saw these guys sitting with executives and pretty much, delivering proposals and delivering an idea or a concept on one of the most popular TV shows we know about, Love Island.
Okay.
And these young boys were literally part of a steering group within that time where they were working on something that the executives were genuinely looking at like, that's a fantastic idea. Like, are you guys taking notes? Can we grab this? Okay. And at the end of that period of time of work experience, one of the executives, one of the main contacts that we had contact with, she said, they were so impressive that we would love to offer them an internship.
Okay.
One of them in particular. And that internship was for the summer. So straight away, you saw the power of networking and providing an opportunity. The young boy, when he heard it, he was excited, but what was more powerful was before that he had said to us, I didn't think that was something I'd ever be interested in.
Okay.
But now, that's the kind of place I want to work in. He wants to be able to get onto a train and get into Farringdon and walk into a nice glass door and basically be working. You get it? He didn't see himself working in that environment, and now he could see it. But this was a boy that wasn't actually in mainstream education, full-time education. He was in an alternative provision. If you knew his family situation, you'd say his pathway was only one way.
Guys, you know, I would definitely say to people out there, let your young people listen to such stories, okay? Let your young people listen to, you know, such amazing people in our community who are doing stuff for our young people. Because, you know, unfortunately, if we are not seeing, if we are not hearing, it's really difficult for us to believe that we can do it. So we are seeing our children being excluded. We are seeing our children moving into what? The police stations. We are seeing our children being moved into what? The prisons. What's the point? You know, what are we doing about it? And I'll definitely say, Emmanuel, that is the reason why I'm really proud of you, because you are a father. But it's not just a matter of you being a father. You had your own experiences of exclusions, but yet you managed to keep your, you know, your passion in terms of being good at what you're doing. And at this point in time, you are an assistant head.
Yeah.
So whilst we'll be listening to different projects within our community which support our young people to be held in order for them to be able to grow up without trouble and be positive role models in future themselves, we will be listening to two further individuals and projects within our community, but also listen to contributions from other fathers who are supporting potential fathers for them to be grounded in their decision making so that they will continue to have the support from people that they can actually relate to. Hold on, let's hear from these individuals as we continue to learn about the roles and experiences of black fathers.
As I first was qualified, I couldn't find anything that actually suited me in the areas that I was looking, and my brother was working in an industry in a youth centre in Windsor, and he knew someone that worked in another centre with one of the places that I used to work in Slough. And it just kind of linked through that. But then actually being there and working with vulnerable, this is the prudent style, sorry. But being there and working with vulnerable people allowed me to realise that this is where I wanted to. Teaching's great, I'm not saying anything bad about teaching, but yeah, that's where I felt that.
We're in the school, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'm sorry, I apologise. But yeah, that's what I felt my niche was and what I actually wanted to give to young people that were misunderstood. I mean, my schooling was terrible. My schooling was terrible mostly because I am dyslexic, sorry. And as a young black male in the area that I grew up with, it was like, yeah, he's just not trying hard. Okay. And at the time, there wasn't nowadays where you say dyslexic and everyone understands. It was like, nah, he's just not trying. They didn't even know I was dyslexic. I didn't know I was dyslexic until I was in college, and then the teacher just suggested it to me. It was only when I was in university that actually it was like, okay, let's actually test and see if this young person is dyslexic. So at the time, my schooling was horrible, so I just gave up on school because they gave up on me before I even started. So for me, schooling was terrible. And obviously going through the system and now getting to the place that I am, I realized that that is actually what I wanted to do. Rather than teach all of the kids, I actually wanted to work with the ones that needed it the most, the most vulnerable ones, and there we are.
That's great.
So as per Leon's experience, he is actually a qualified teacher. However, in order for him to be able to give back and also gain the satisfaction of where he feels his impact would actually be experienced or would be more meaningful, he's actually working directly with young people in schools to be able to support them whilst they remain to experience the best in terms of their education. Whilst all our young people may not be academic inclined, Henry has actually done amazing by actually supporting our young people who want to do apprenticeships, and for him that is his speciality, and that's exactly what he is doing to support our young people who wants to come through that particular pathway.
My priority is to empower my own community, in the sense that I see a lot of my children, my black kids and things like that, they've been neglected over the years. I've been many places to look for a job as a mechanic, because my dad is a mechanic in Nigeria, but no one wants to give me an opportunity. The first thing that inspired me in this country is a Caribbean man which is born in this country. I went to it straight away, said, fine, come, I'll try you. Everywhere I go, they laugh at me, and I said, okay, fine. And that moment, when he gave me that opportunity, I said, listen, this is another challenge. It's just like a different step in life. You need to realize that people that will accept you is your own people. People that will guide you through is your own people. before I start my own business or before I start my own garage, running my own garage, go to people who have to service their car. Doing their car, if I service your car, you pay me. I work Monday to Saturday, and I use half of my Saturday and Sunday to fix other people's car. In between doing those car, this is where I earn more money to get my tools.
That's great.
And one thing I want to introduce to the young people in this community, we think education is, go to school is very important. That is, yeah, it's good to be educated. I'm not the best, my English might not be right, but at the same time, we invest in our kids even when we live in this country, go and have master's degree. We don't care if the job is there for you. If you're looking for a mechanic in Northampton, over the years, I've tried to have so many apprentices to get people in our community to make sure, people like me, to have impact in the community. At some point, I'm getting old now.
Yeah.
I'm getting older. At some point, I'll say, I'll step back. I'm thinking, who is going to take the next step before my kids grow up?
And that's really important. So can I ask, do you have the opportunity to maybe support young people who wants to take on mechanic as a career?
Yes, if to have the skill as a career, I will give them opportunity. I'm one of the best. I will always make sure that no matter how, as a father, you know it's a challenge raising kids or let them be through apprenticeship. It's not that easy, but at the same time, what is your job as a father?
Okay.
Did you feel supported when you came here? Okay. And how long are you going to be here for?
This is my last day, but maybe 6 months.
Okay. So it is a work experience that was actually supported by your school?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Guys, this is information out there. Henry Motors, just like any other company, may be offering apprenticeships or maybe work experience. Henry is a black man doing this amazing thing for our black community. I am really, really proud of Ryan when I saw him this morning, actually waking up in the morning and actually, you know, knowing that I am going to work. I am doing my work experience, which I think is amazing. So for my, you know, my biggest hat this morning, I took it off to Ryan and said that, well done, okay. I had to speak to Ryan's mom as well to make sure that she was very much aware of this video and she was very much supportive. All that we are saying in Black Next Gen is we are looking for black companies, individual people like Ryan, you know, who is doing amazing things. He's waking up in the morning, coming to a place like this, okay, so that he can definitely do something better with his life.
As one continued to reflect on his role as a father, as a mentor, as a support for others, this has definitely been one of the very interesting experiences that took me over 2 years in order for me to be able to put together this compilation. I, however, ask that you do share your own experience if you may in the comment section, but if not, you know, we hope that you've been able to learn something from the individuals' experiences, and what we do ask of you is for you to be able to join us on this channel, subscribe, like and share with other people who may wish to make themselves better as fathers, as parents. But also, before we leave, let's go back and learn and also hear from other fathers who are actually supporting others on their own journeys as fathers, so that they can continue to be better at whatever they do in terms of mentoring the adults who may need the extra hand as a father.
Thing is, when I met Adam, he said to me, you know what, guys, for me to have been able to do what I did, I actually met somebody who mentored me and still holding on to my hand. Yeah.
One evening, I remember very well, I called him one evening and told him, Chika, this is what I want to do. You know, I've sat down, thought about it. I want to go into this line of profession, and I know you've got, you know, tons of knowledge within that space. So, you know, what do you have to offer? Or how can you help me? And that's true. He was like,
so although you were seeking information, you were that wanted him to offer you something. Yeah. Well, you were a high cost man. You know, Chika, what made you decide, you know what, Adam is the kind of a person that I think I would rather want to mentor him, because obviously you cannot mentor everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
What was some of the traits in Adam?
Yeah, first and foremost, up till now, I'm extremely humbled that I was the one he chose to speak to, right? Because it takes a lot for you to be able to open who you are, your situation to people, and that's where the role of mentorship comes in. It's a very humbling position to be in, because you're looking at this and saying, oh yeah, there's a problem. The result we are seeing today in what God has done for him is purely between him and his God. Right? I'm just an observer. I'm in awe. Everyone I have mentored, I'm always in awe with them, because I feel that to be able to experience life successes, interviews, failures of interviews, success in interviews, getting a job, being paid, being beneficial to one's family and the community. I'm just in awe of being able to experience that with Edem and the people that I mentor. So for me, it's, like I said to you, it's a life of service. So I don't see it from the angle of I chose him. I'm glad he chose me. And I feel that, like, I know him for certain. I can put my money on it. He's also doing that for other people. So it's a chain we create, the chain effect that we create, and we need to continue to make that chain strong. So yeah, that's the only best way I can respond to this.